G'day and welcome back. In this video we're going to cover off estate planning. Now I need to say from the outset that yes, firstly this is not personal advice, but I'm also not a solicitor or a lawyer. I'm a financial advisor, so I cannot legally provide you advice on estate planning, but I can provide definitely direction and some guidance on to what things you should be thinking about, and something to be on your notepad when you go and do see a fully qualified lawyer or solicitor to help you in these areas. So whilst it's not a fun part of our lives to consider the estate planning side of things, it's vital that we have an up-to-date will. It's amazing that around half the population do not have a will, so there is no really guidance or direction for their beneficiaries, their family, on what they would like to happen with their assets. And if you're selling a farm, more than likely those assets will be more large in obviously in dollar terms, that you need obviously this sort of paperwork to be absolutely spot on. So having an up-to-date will, choosing executors appropriately is important as well, but that's where a solicitor will give you that guidance on who that should be and how the will should be structured. I will just jump down to the fourth bullet point there, which is testamentary trust. So you can set up a will, which also includes provision to set up a testamentary trust. It's only an option. Your beneficiaries can choose not to use the testamentary trust or to use it. But what the testamentary trust can do is the assets for obviously a large estate can go into this new trust that's formed as part of the will. And there's a number of benefits in setting up a testamentary trust. One is that you can distribute income to many different beneficiaries from the testamentary trust, and even minors under the age of 18 are treated as adults from a tax point of view. So they can receive their nearly $20,000 completely tax-free, even if they're a newborn. In addition to that, and I think just as important, is a testamentary trust will provide protection for those assets within it from bankruptcy or litigation. So if you've got family members that have high-risk occupations, like a doctor, that can be sued for whatever reason, a testamentary trust would be ideal because it segregates the money within the trust there and it provides a lot of protection. Just jumping back up to powers of attorney, there's a number of things you need to consider there. One is enduring powers of attorney, financial, medical. So, and that also crosses over into the advanced care directives, where you're giving people really direction on how you want to be treated if you're unwell or unable to communicate. And yeah, it's really some very definite your personal thoughts about your life and when you're unwell or have trouble communicating. So the Advanced Care Directives Power of Attorney can help with some of that, those scenarios. But also enduring power of attorney could be simply that you're just overseas and you can't pay the bill or you can't do certain things. So it doesn't have to be a negative with ill health or anything like that. It just might be that you need someone to help out when you're not able to. When looking at superannuation, your will not take care of the superannuation assets. You need to have a nomination form. Now, for superannuation, generally it's the use of a binding death nomination, and that might direct the money to your estate, the will, or it might direct the assets to your beneficiaries directly. There's obviously quite a few tax considerations with estate planning of superannuation, because there is, when someone passes away, there is taxable and tax-free components, and there can be some issues if you're dying with taxable components where you have to pay 15% plus Medicare on part of that money. So this is where we implement recontribution strategies and other things like that, through that retirement process. But obviously that's a whole another issue to cover off on. But so for superannuation, you need to have nominations, a binding death nom or reversionary pensions sort of stipulated, and that's how those assets are dealt with. But please, you need to seek professional advice in this area, another very complex area. In the next video, and obviously we're getting close to the end, is the psychological side of retirement. It's an important issue. It's not an issue that gets spoken about a lot, but we're going to have a go at tackling it as best we can. Thank you.